I can't believe that. Oh dear. Hello guys, Dan Hook here and welcome to part 4 on how to write a novel series, and you have just finished completing your first draft, so give yourself and the giraffe a pat on the back because that is an accomplishment. And I remember completing my first draft and, well, I thought it was going to be, GG, easy, smooth sailing from here on out. You've completed your book, it's all easy breezy. Oh, how wrong I was. So, sadly, although it's an accomplishment to complete your first draft, there is still a long way to go. Now, if you don't mind me saying, because like mine, it's likely a steaming hot pile of mess. But that's okay, because that's what your first round of editing is for. What you'll be doing now is deleting, editing, adding words, doing your research, tidying bits and pieces up, and that always is how a first draft goes. I'd be very surprised if you wrote your first draft and found that everything was perfect. In fact, I'd probably be slightly worried. So, on this edit, it's about refining some of your plot points, moving paragraphs about, generally, as I just mentioned, researching, getting details in, and there might be some points where you're going to delete entire chapters. Although I'd recommend against not deleting, just move them aside, put them in a different document, hide the bits of paper that they're on, just in case you do need to come back to them. But in general, it's going to be a lot of work. Don't be precious about it. You can always save different versions if you don't want to delete certain bits but you feel like they don't fit. Just, be sure to keep copies. But there might also be places where you're going to be rather impressed with yourself. There's going to be sentences, paragraphs where you think, flipping heck, that's actually not bad, that writing. I could probably be a writer. I mean, I've had moments myself, I've gone, yeah, that's not bad, that sentence, all that little plot point, that's pretty good. Go over to the next chapter. Then there's other bits where you're like, what was I thinking? What in the bloody hell was going on when I wrote that down? That needs to be deleted right now. I mean, yes, I said things should be saved, but sometimes in writing things just need to be deleted and forgotten about, because man oh man, sometimes I find in my edits some weird ideas that would just never have worked. But still, that's what the first draft is for, and then that's what the edit's for afterwards. In this edit in particular, I would focus less on grammar and spelling because, again, things are just going to keep continually changing, especially when you get beta readers in. Don't really worry too much about actual spelling and grammar. Obviously, if you see it, you can change it, but the primary focus of this first edit is to get your story down, to refine points, to move things about, major sort of structural pieces. And maybe if you're not too sure, you can always ask friends and family if you're perhaps stuck on where you think certain things should be, but really you want to sort of save them for when they're beta reading. You don't want to get them too close. Or perhaps you just have one that you can just bring in all the time and get feedback from them as you're doing these big edits. And of course, on the topic of research, Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, whatever you use, research topics and things. If you're into trying to make sure your story is as grounded as possible, like with mine, yes, it's a little bit sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, but I try to ground it as much as possible. I have certain scenes where sometimes I could look on the internet, but it can just be easier just to go and grab someone who I know who knows about that topic. And also on one last note, which isn't really to do with the first draft, but make sure you have a social media presence. If you're not on any platforms, it's going to be very hard for you to push and sell your book. So the earlier that you start making this, the easier it's going to be for you further down the line. So I recommend just making a Twitter, Instagram, wherever you fancy, wherever you think your audience might be. Start getting yourself out there. But yeah, thank you for watching. The next video will be focusing on what happens after your first edit. Cheers for watching.